All right, good morning. So I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Jessica. I didn't give everybody, I guess, ahead of time my bio, but I've been in marketing for about 17 years, so I'm kind of a dinosaur. I started actually working in national, so I work with companies like Nissan, Chevy, home improvement stores, Lowe's, and moved my way actually to running my own business in 2011 with my husband, who's actually a Marine. So we are veteran owned. About a third of our staff, or maybe, a third of our staff is actually veterans. And we all work from home, which is pretty cool, and that's so we can donate to veteran organizations and nonprofits that support women and children. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. All right, so I wanna set the stage here because one big thing that always comes up is, and I'll let you read it here, we don't only work with roofers. So I just wanna get that out of the way right now because there's gonna be this question, well, why, if we only work maybe a third of your business as contractors, are you even here? And it's because we're not just roofing marketing experts, we're actually marketers who are experts. So here's an example, just so you know, these are all the different things, and the only way that you can run a business for as long as we have is you actually have to be a marketing expert to actually be able to cover all these different types of categories and businesses that we work with. These are actually our current businesses, and we do actually also have clients in Australia and Canada. So again, my husband's not here today. We had a family emergency, but we bring the best of what the Marine Corps has to offer and 17 years of marketing experience. So, and the training agenda today is going to be shattering myths, expose misconceptions, and then who to trust. So that way when people come to you, and I know you guys get these emails all the time, oh my gosh, did you know you're not number one of this very long-tailed keyword, or this one that you might think is really important, like roofing contractor Indianapolis, which maybe 10 people search, but you don't know that because no one's telling you that. We want to make sure that you're actually equipped and prepared. Or when you get something on Facebook that's like, oh, did you know you're going to have your page down because you're not doing community standards? Or did you know you should pay for this one thing because this thing doesn't exist, but you don't know that? So my goal today here is to equip and educate you. So let's start with the warm-up. So number one thing is a lot of these companies are like, I'm going to give you this great dashboard. You only have to pay me like thousands of dollars, but you get this great dashboard. Guess what? You can get a great dashboard. This has literally been the industry standard for over a decade, okay? It pulls everything in, your SEO, your Google ads, if you did things on Amazon, if you did things even on some OTT platforms, whatever it is, Facebook, everything comes into one place. And the best part is nobody can manipulate it, because the problem that you're gonna have with a third-party dashboard is you're not in control. There's filters that can be put in place, so you'll never actually get a true view of what's really happening. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's $12 a month unless you want to go like balls to the wall, and then it's $180, and that's like if you put an insane amount of extra pieces into place. Okay, so you are totally capable of managing your own LSA. So how do I know that? Do you know how to flip a switch? If you are here and you are a roofer, these are your switches. Can you flip a switch? Do you know a zip code? Okay, pretty easy to do. The only optimization you can do are those things. You cannot optimize to make sure that they are the valid homeowner. You cannot optimize on income. There's nothing else you can do except for these things. And also the only way that you can improve performance, you can see it right there, that's actually the screenshot from Google. And anyone who wants a copy of this afterwards, so you can check these sources out on the bottom, just find me afterwards and I'll make sure you get a copy. So that's it. All right. Homeowners are MIA on Facebook and Instagram. This is where a lot of them will start crying. So, for example, if you type in homeowner on your detailed targeting, you can see the only thing that comes up, whoops, we hit a button that I shouldn't have hit. Morgan, I'm going to ask you for some help real quick. Oh, there you go. Okay. Is homeowner association, okay? And if you look over here, there's 931,000 people in the United States that are interested supposedly in a homeowner association. Okay, homeowner is not an option. Income is not an option, okay? And these are all implied, they are not verified. So if you're thinking about, okay, well, how many people is this in the US and none of this is accredited, So what am I reaching? You're talking about 0.05% of homeowners in the US are on Facebook that are verified. And the scary thing is Snapchat, which you may or may not be aware of, and it's the only reason you probably would be and you're in this room, is you're checking on your child or cousin or someone and what they're up to, actually is accredited, actually has verified demographics, and you could actually find people that have an income, own a home, and even look at things like, segments. A lot of people will say, look to see if they are shopping for an appliance. If you've ever rented a home, you probably needed a washer. If you needed a washer or you wanted a stand mixer, you're being put into that whether you own a home or not. All right, at the end of your data, an AI is a real human being. This is very personal for me. We've answered over 60,000 chats in the past, almost 2 years. And we schedule people anything from home improvement leads to all the way to, again, because we're not just roofing marketers, to urgent care visits, okay? And right here, you remember those days where press 1, press 2, and you get funneled into something? It's really annoying, right? It's the same thing when you ask something. And the problem is when you've looked at over 60,000 messages, and we've also worked on a private global beta with Google, and what we found is when it does not fall over after the first AI or bot message, and this started back in 2021, probably spring, is that if it doesn't fall over to a human after the second one, the conversion rate drops significantly. People do not want to be treated like they're talking to a robot. Oh, also, I know this is hard, but most people, human people, think of a roof as a need, not a want. So when you're talking to someone who has gone through a major hurricane, I live here in Florida. I've worked disaster recovery. And when you're talking to someone who's lost a roof, they are not looking at you like this is something I've been planning my whole life for. This is something that needs empathy and compassion. That quote right there, again, is from Google. Citations are right there. All right, so nobody likes a stalker. So think about all those text message campaigns that you have set up. I've only known one roofer, he's based out of Cincinnati, who is able to use Hatch effectively, specifically within the storm capabilities, where it doesn't come across like an emotionless stalker, but I think he has a spiritual gift. So, or be force-fed into a funnel. How many of you have been force-fed into a funnel? You've tried to buy a car? Anybody? No one? Just me? All right, same thing. This is what it's like for your customers. So you need to really very carefully consider how you're speaking to them and how it's coming across. So, and the other thing too is, when you're talking about those forced into funnels and then you're stalking them around the internet, it's kind of like that person looking through your glass door at 3 a.m. like, are you ready to sign? Is it time for a new roof? So try to avoid the creep factor because they know everybody else is stalking them from their cars, their TV, because their TV actually does listen to you and your remote. And it's been doing that for about a decade. All right, funnels are sales tactics, not facts. So this might be a little chapped. So again, because we are marketing experts, not just roofing marketing experts, this was from Google in 2017. They had us host an event for all the automotive dealers across the Orlando and Tampa Bay area for them. And this is literally their graph. This is their thing. And if you notice, there's a process to them actually, in this case, scheduling a test drive. So it's 2023, and they don't believe in funnels. Just want to point that out. So this was in 2020. So this is probably right here what you're used to seeing. And they're like, hey, my thing is down here. We're not going to start up here. We're gonna take total control over everything that happens at that purchase funnel. And we're going to force them into here, and then we're going to remarket, and we're going to referral. Okay, this is the reality of what's been happening. This is backed by Kantar, Google, and ComScore, basically all the global authorities on marketing. Okay, out here is the exposure. That could be your truck driving around. That could be your yard sign. That could be, if you like billboards, it could be your billboard, whatever that is. Could be a TV commercial, could be a news story. Okay, trigger. I have a leak that I have ignored, and it's the size of a skylight now in my ceiling, and I need to finally take care of it. And I finally decided it's a need, and I got to address it. I had my roof ripped off. I had hail. Whatever that trigger was, I got a non-renewal notice, which is a big thing here in Florida. Okay, then there's the exploration. Who do I trust? Okay, and then evaluation. If all you're doing is just digital and they don't have any other exposure around you, it is a race to the bottom, okay? Because you all say the same thing. We're local, we're family owned, we're gonna do a great job on your roof. No one says I'm gonna do a shit job and my roof is gonna leak in a year, okay? So just keep that in mind, all right? So then it's lowest price, all right? And then down here you have purchase and then experience, okay? That experience is your word of mouth, your referrals, things like that, your reviews. Okay, when you're thinking about what's happening over here, just checking, okay? I know I have this leak, not really ready to do anything about it. Okay, just started, I'm looking at it, researching actively. How many people, when you've made a major purchase, are like, I'm effing over this, okay? I bought a truck. We were looking at, it was like a Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro something. My husband wanted a manual, because men drive manual. And the other option was a Jeep. Well, Jeep has had a recall. So we're going through looking at all these options. And finally, I'm like, we're done. We went through these dealerships. We're exhausted. We learned about this market. I forgot what the word is that some automotive dealers do. But basically, they're like, well, because the market's rough, we're going to add an extra 10 grand to the price because we can't. And we're like, F this. So you take a break. Sometimes things come up. Things happen. You have a family emergency, something happens, whatever that is. You have a dishwasher broke. Now that truck is not my most important problem, but the flooding that happened and repairing that wall might be. And then at this point, somewhere between actively researching and moving forward, they've set on a brand, okay? They've set on usually 1, 2, 3. Unless you have a crazy customer and they're calling for 7 roofers. All right, so this was fun. So this is actually one of these guys up here. This is their analytics, and I haven't shown it to them until recently. They're going to be speaking at Best of Success. And I said it's not a straight line, and it's hard for people to imagine that. This is one customer. The first time they came was October 9th. They came from direct. Okay? You can see how many times they came back to the website before they finally clicked a call. There is a process, and you can look at analytics. It is free, it is available, and it is easy to use if someone will walk you through it, and then after you get it, you're like, oh, this is a breeze. But you can see there is a process. Every one of your customers is going to look like this, unless they're calling you to sell you something like, did you know you're number one or this weird keyword? This is 3 different roofing contractors, okay? And depending on how you're using that exposure, and what your customer's process is like, because even if you are all on the same street, and you're all on the same street, and you're 1, 2, 3 buildings, and you're all offering roof replacement, you all have 1, 2, 3 different internal processes. Your customers have different external processes, okay? And so that is going to look different, which is why you cannot rubber stamp. Just because it worked for roofing contractor A does not mean it will work for B and C, okay? You have to know that there is a different process. And it is because of how you're outwardly reaching, how you're inwardly responding, okay, and how your customer is externally reacting. All right, SEO isn't a secret, and Google isn't the devil. So, I don't know, I like to do things in my spare time, but this right here is literally what it's like for a lot of people, is you don't know. So over here, I made this page about, a year ago, because I got tired of answering the same questions. But if you scan this, all those top questions that you have about SEO, you can go there, like how do I rank higher on my Google My Business? How do I pay for X, Y, or Z? What is going to change? Every one of those questions is in there, and you can literally, do I use AI for my content? You can scan it, it will be in there with a link back to a Google site, okay? So that means it's not Jessica's opinion, it's not a blog's opinion, it's not anyone else's opinion, it is a fact, okay? Even the tools on how to make sure that your website is optimized, and you can decide what you want to do or not do. I'll wait a second because I see a couple more people looking. And if you can't get it to scan, because I don't know how well this scans from across the room, just let me know and I will make sure you get a copy. All right, so another one thing is just gonna, obviously everyone here is like the Jesus of marketing, right? We all are. Just kidding. But anyways, it's really important when you're deciding about what's important to you and a partner, you're gonna find out a little bit more about it. But right here, one of the things you're gonna see is there's gonna be people who are like, I'm a Google partner. And other people are gonna be like, I'm a Premier partner. Well, let me tell you what the difference is between a Premier and a regular. Do you see a common denominator here? It's called spend, okay? So I don't have 800 employees and I don't outsource to India or Pakistan or to Ireland or to anywhere else, okay? So I'm not going to be in there. I may spend $2 million a year on Google ads, but it's not gonna put me in the top 10 because I don't want 2,000 customers, and that's okay. A friend of mine actually is the president of Search Kings, and he does have that, and that's perfect for him because he has a different process, okay? But his customers aren't my customers. So it's important for you to know What is the actual difference, okay? That person who's a premier partner only has to have, even if they have 1,000 employees or 100 employees, okay? They only have to have one person in the entire company have a display, a video, an app, a search, and one other certification. That's it. They don't have to have the AI one. They don't have to have creative. They don't have to have all the other stuff. Okay, and only 50% of the logins have to be certified. Okay, so a lot of these companies that are larger in scale and outsource will use a shared login. But if that doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter. But again, these are things you should know. So the number one thing they don't want you to have shattered is on-air marketing always drives more organic traffic and more qualified traffic than what you're spending online between backlinks and whatever they're doing on your website. Okay, also direct traffic. For those of you who don't know what direct traffic is, that means they are typing in whatever your URL is. They're not searching, they're like, hey, I know that company. I know in case over here, BFAR Contracting. That's a long name and it's a unique spelling. So the fact that you have people that are typing in bfarcontracting.com, it's because they know their brand. Also, they didn't know I was gonna put them on the spot. Just like AI, this isn't new. AI has been out for, I don't know, 15 years. It was called web scraping originally. It was literally where, you remember you'd see those horrible directories and you're like, that's not my phone number, or that's not my business, or I don't offer that service. Okay, that was literally from AI and web scraping. That's what it's called before ChatGPT came. All right, so how do we know these things? This is ComScore. You've probably never heard of them. And let me tell you, they are the global authority on measurement, okay? They are the people that actually verify how many people use Google, okay? And a lot of their stuff, their insights, are actually available to you on their website. So you go to comscore.com, you can insights, you can look at top apps. So if someone's like, hey, my home services thing is a top app, you'd be like, you know what, let me check. Is it a top app? Should I be spending that money? Because there's a billion places you can advertise, okay? But you can see they measure 75 million TVs. 30 million households additionally are measured through other devices, 210 local markets, which to you just means the United States. Okay, 246 mobile phones, tablets, 181 desktops, 158 CTV. That is a connected TV. So if you've bought even a TV from Walmart and you can get Netflix on there, you have a connected TV. All right, and then you have brands, publishers, countries, movies, etc., and streaming. So publishers is also things like Amazon Music. All right, so again, there are places where you can go. We talked about how Facebook, you cannot verify anything about them. Okay, on air, because of measurement companies like ComScore, this is podcasts, this is looking at Pandora. Okay, I can pick not only their income and make sure it's verified, I can find out if they are most likely to file a claim. Is that area, that specific zip code, an area where in that person, someone who has filed one previously before or likely to based on what we know about the weather, okay? I can look also at their credit. If I'm not worried about if they file a claim, but I do a lot of retail, I want to make sure, especially now, that they can get qualified for credit, because not all my customers have $15,000, $25,000, $40,000 in cash just hanging out. Okay, so again, these are different types of things. I'm sure you're familiar with Experian. So Experian is a household match with ComScore. So imagine this. Imagine you're a neighborhood. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's what ComScore is doing. Every other house is counted with an Experian household match. And a lot of these companies also use TransUnion, media rating councils, making sure that someone is actually seeing it, hearing it, experiencing it. So this is really important. So we don't buy and we don't recommend you buy based on feelings. If you haven't seen Better Off Ted, you're missing out. Victoria is like my spirit animal of business people. But again, she's talking about, you know, don't go by confidence, don't go by feelings, go by facts. There is so much data out there and your marketing partners can do it. And a lot of it is also accessible to you for free without choosing to even use a marketing company. Okay, so again, we're looking at facts versus implied behavior. How many have ever looked at a car online that you cannot afford, or a destination that you have no intention of going to? Okay, or yeah, see, I mean, at least one person here is honest. Okay, I have looked at stuff. There is this kitchen thing. I mean, I've been talking to my friends about redoing my bathroom for years, and I haven't because I bought trucks and other home repairs. So again, interested versus in market. In market is I'm thinking about making a purchase. In market versus actually actively shopping. What happens is when they're looking online, Google and these other things like ComScore can tell, are you really in market? you're interested, or are you really like you're ready to make a purchase? You're standing at a store, you're on a contact page of a website for the service you're looking for. These are two very different things. Okay, stranger danger versus trusted brand. Remember that exposure? Stranger danger. Can I trust you? Why do I need 6 estimates? Because I don't know anybody and I don't know who to trust. Okay, and you all say, I'm going to do a great job. We all say it. Every marketing company, every roofing company here is going to say, we do a great job. Okay, but prove it. All right, how to select, buy, place, and optimize. All right, you got all this information. What do we do with it? So you need to consider all these different things. Speed. Okay, how long is it going to take you to get on air? Doing something like being on TV, which has the most influence, is going to take more time unless you have videos ready that are TV friendly. And by TV friendly, I don't mean showing your truck. Nobody cares about your truck. Nobody cares about a dirty work site either. No one wants to see that you put booties on if you come in a house, all those things, okay? All they want to know is, what are you going to do for me? What is the experience I'm going to have as the homeowner who's going through this? All right? Flexibility. This is really, really, really important. Make sure you talk to whoever you're signing up with. How much flexibility do I have? If something happens, hail happens, can I stop what I'm doing? Can I stop what I'm doing? For example, College Roofing, we've worked with since 2013. When Hurricane Irma came through, we got over 10,000 leads the first week. Ask me if they still wanted to run any sort of marketing. Probably not. They don't need to spend the money. Right now, they only need to spend money on answering the phone, responding to people, making sure their CRM is straight. Make sure you have flexibility, okay? Cost, depending on how the person is managing it. So if, let's say, I don't know how to do my job, or I outsource my job and I sit in a fancy office and then I send it over to another country or near shore, whatever I do, or another agency, okay? You have typically anywhere from 25 to 55% that you're spending on just management fees that you might not be aware of, okay? Because it stacks, okay? If I can't self-serve on Pandora, okay, let's say I'm a marketing company and for some reason I don't know how to do that and I have to go through a media group or another company, you're stacking those fees, okay? So automatically out the door, if you do not partner with someone who does it all in-house, you are spending at minimum 33% more, which means that's loss of your ability to get in front of someone. Day parting, excuse me. 24/7 or during specific times. So for a lot of roofers, I would recommend most of your customers, unless you work a lot with seniors, they are probably at work 8 to 5 and they're probably not at home. So you might have it on. It doesn't matter. They might be like, hey, someone came to your website afterwards, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The likelihood that they're coming to your website right after they saw your ad is 0 unless their roof is completely removed, okay? Placement. Adult Swim, probably not a brand you want to be associated with. Even if your customer is watching it, it does not mean they want to be like, you know what, that roofing company was in that really interesting program. Okay, Nickelodeon, your customer is not 6 years old. Okay, so they're not going to be going over to mom. And again, when they're finding this demographic, they're looking at a household. This household has this income. It has this likelihood to file a claim, okay? But if their 6-year-old is watching Nickelodeon, they're not going to run over to their mom telling them they should get a new roof. It doesn't matter if your roof is missing. You are not Chuck E. Cheese, okay? So again, same with podcasts. Do you want to be in podcasts? I always joke around. YouTube campaigns. The #1 campaign, if you saw me last year, is Peppa the Pig for roofing contractors, because you're not managing, or they're not managing their placements. So again, keep that an idea. Inventory. Some people cannot deliver to these specifications. Case example, Amazon Music is now ad supported, but they don't have enough inventory for someone that wants to really narrow it down. You are not toilet paper. You need someone with an income. They need to own a single family home. They need to have the ability to make those decisions. All those things come into place, okay? And they don't always have, even in a large metro, the ability to serve it. Don't allow them to widen it so you can serve it. Make sure they can serve the audience you are looking for. All right, and optimization and management. Is it set and forget? Like, oh, I got this great AI for it, it's going to automatically optimize. No, no. Even AI, even Google says, and again, I can share that with you later on, a citation says you have to constantly have human oversight. And then get geo-personal. You can literally optimize any OTT campaign if you're using what's called IP attribution, which matches, they saw it on the TV, but you have the same IP in your house, and they come to your house, or they come to your house. They go to their cell phone, okay, or they go to their laptop a day or two, week later, whatever that is, okay, and they contact you and they can match that back. You can go in every 2 weeks, and I would recommend that if you're running for 4 weeks, do it twice in a month. If you're running for 3 weeks based on your budget, make sure they go in at least once and they check that. You can do the same with your creative. You might have creative A, creative B, see which one's actually driving people to your website and what pages they're going to. So again, IP attribution, we talked a little bit about that. This is what it can track. If I see your ad on TV and I go to your Google My Business tomorrow, I can't track that. So everything you have is conservative. That means if you're optimizing based on conservative numbers, you're doing the most you can to be most effective versus looking at something very broad. Okay, you can look at things too, like, all right, if I ran this creative, did I see a boost on my Google My Business outside of that, and match it back to the campaigns you were running. Brand perception matters 100%. So this is my smoking hot husband who couldn't be here because we had a family emergency, and he was in the Marines. So when we started, we had 2 businesses. His was Devil Dog Websites. We came from 29 Palms, which is a base that is literally next to the Mojave Desert that the Army abandoned and called it uninhabitable. So of course the Marines moved in and said, we got this. All right. So this is my husband there. He was on the shooting team. He was highly decorated. And then obviously you can see he's over here in Iraq. It's over 130 degrees. All right. So we come to Florida after living in all these military towns where NORAD and Marine Corps and everyone else was. And everyone in Florida thought we were a Satan worshiper. We could not even get my beautiful daughter, who's in the front here, because again, family stuff going on. We couldn't get her into a Christian preschool. As soon as they saw the word devil in our business name, they're like, oh, suddenly we are full. Don't talk to us. You need to leave. So it mattered, and our business plateaued, okay? Well, our slogan was kill your competition. So in 2015, we realized we are definitely in the Bible Belt, even though we're Christians and we're not Satan worshipers. And we changed our name to Kill Your Competition. And if you have seen our Florida news, you know you can say kill, you just can't say devil. Over here, speaking of perception, is BFAR Contracting. There are over 100 contractors within a 25-mile radius of them that have at least 25 reviews, okay, and have over a 4.0 rating. So if you want to talk about an area that is extremely saturated, the Orlando area is one of them, okay? Everyone came in for Irma, and they haven't left. Okay, so you have these guys, and they're like, well, we don't have the budget of these big guys who've been around. How do we do it? And the big thing was changing the perception. So they started with a thing over here called Angel Tree Salvation Army, okay, with kids. Okay, they got integrated with news. Okay, they personalized experiences. So after Ian, they sent a text out. So instead of dropping tons and tons of money after a storm, they automatically reached out before and after saying, hey, let us know if you need anything. Your value to us, we're going to take care of you, priority scheduling, okay? Not only did they have positive responses to that, they had people who said, hey, I don't live in this area, but I would like to have you update my information, so if I have hail or whatever, okay? And then they changed their videos. So you're not going to see trucks. There's maybe a total out of all these videos of maybe 10 seconds of an actual roof being installed, okay? And I know it's probably hard to see over there, but you've got up to 200,000 views all the way down to like 2,400. The lowest time viewed is 85% for this one. Can I get a free roof in Florida? Because everyone in Florida thinks they get a free roof, which is why we have non-renewals. All right, but the rest of these are up here in the 90s for the most part, okay? So again, nobody cares about their truck. And also, these are not in non-skippable ads. This is someone actually watching all the way through who had the option to skip through, okay? And then not only that, but they got so involved in the community that one of the people that I work with at the Salvation Army called, and unbeknownst to them, had them come out and do a story on BFAR's involvement in the community. Everyone gives away a roof, but these guys are out every week on Tuesday. They're donating, okay, their time, and all they're doing is literally handing out food to people that are homeless or food insecure, okay? But that showing that they're part of what makes a sacrifice, guys, is we all have shingles, right? Like, it'd be like me making a sacrifice, being like, hey, I'll do marketing for free for you a month, and it probably isn't really a sacrifice. It's what I already have. It's already available to me. When you want to make a sacrifice and you want news to cover you, not only do you build a relationship, but you do something that actually has an impact that they see actually is a sacrifice. So again, change the outcomes. So here's an example. Before they did this, they went from 90 branded searches a month. Now, within 2 years, they are at 510 searches looking specifically for their name. Okay, big difference. All right, again, it's looking at what is the perception. Remember that thing, that exposure that they're giving people. Okay, what is that experience? I also showed on here, and they're up here in this service area. This is multiple counties up in Florida. Only 390 searches a month are happening for a roof replacement. Okay, and we can't guarantee when a storm is going to hit or where it's going to hit. 510, okay, are for their name. 110 are for reviews. 0 are for complaints. If you look on Google Ads, there's a free tool available to everyone. It's called the keyword tool, search volume. You can look in there and you can see how many people are searching for you by name. You can match it back to any of your marketing you're doing, and you can also look how many people are looking for reviews, complaints. That will give you an idea of what is the perception you're building around your business. So, Semper Fi, if you aren't familiar, and if you don't know, it's almost the Marine Corps birthday. And if you don't know what Semper Fi means, it means always faithful. So how do you find a faithful partner? Okay. A faithful partner will be the person, this literally happened, and we're not going to name names in the Orlando area, okay? But this is something that happened. What type of partners have you already built with your local news? So that way when that story comes up, it is handled in a way you want it to be handled. Or you don't want it to air. We have spent a lot of time, energy, and effort making sure stories never go to air. You need to have a marketing partner that can help you, and I recommend also having a law firm. The law firm will be when you have in an unfortunate event. There's one guy at a company in a major market who got called. I got a call from the news saying that he was racist, and they had a person that was claiming he was racist. He was racist because he had a death in the family, and he could not make the call, and the woman was convinced that he was not able to make it because he heard the sound of her voice, okay? So again, those perceptions matter, and making sure those things don't go to air matter, okay? There's going to be people you're going to piss off. There's going to be people that are going to make crazy claims, okay? This week I was sharing with someone, we partnered with a business journal, and we had a picture on our website. And again, we're military. I'm actually Jewish before I became Christian. And we have this picture of a guy who clearly looks like a terrorist with a Biden pin on, okay? And he's holding ice creams. So he's got, Biden 2024, and there's Biden over there having ice cream, okay? So we got called, and we're like, you're Islamophobic, all right? So you need to know, who do you call about that? So we got censored, okay? So we reached out. We knew how to handle it from a marketing standpoint, but we reached out to an attorney so we can turn it around. So if someone says something about you, which is not true, and we can get into that later, you have someone that can protect you, keep it from going on air, and it isn't going to abandon you when you literally split a house in two. It is really important that you know that person is going to be there for you, has the relationships if you don't already have them built, okay, and you have an attorney. I know it just changed it to Adams and Reese. Trent Cotney is our attorney. I highly recommend him. I've worked with him on a lot of news stories that we have prevented from going to air. Also, identify what matters in a marketing partner first, okay? Remember we talked about some people you really want that premier partner. I don't care that it's all about spend. That matters to me. Whatever that is, make sure you identify what that is first before you decide what marketing you want to do and before you decide who to partner with, okay? So, again, I like this verse. It makes me laugh. I like bad Baptist verses, okay? The same thing with here where you see about, quarrelsome wife. It's the same thing with your market. If you're always at odds, it's not going to work. Okay? Issues are going to arise, but talk about before you sign up. How do you resolve those issues? How do we work through them when they arise? Because they will arise. All right, and make sure that you construct a marketing plan that matches your internal processes. So one time we had a company that we partner with. They're like, hey, we're not storm chasers, and we got this huge support staff, and we need all the calls in the world. And I said, great. So we created this whole plan about trust and confidence and equity, all these things, and around retail roofing, okay? Not if you have a claim, you can get a free roof. All right, we also constructed so everybody called. They were all live calls, okay? Well, then we go to this meeting, and I told John, who works with me, who you can meet at our little booth thing, I said, John, the first thing we're going to say to you is, we don't like when Jessica tells us to answer our phone. And lo and behold, hi, I'm so-and-so, hi, I'm so-and-so, hi, I'm so-and-so. And before he even let go of John's hand, he goes, we don't like when Jessica tells us to answer our phones. Okay, but the problem is, they're like, we need more leads. And I said, great, answer your phones, because Google tells me you missed about, 60% on average per day. okay? And they don't like that I tell them that. They have this monster company. They're spending 70 to 90 grand a month. They have multiple locations, but they only had 2 people answering the phone. They did not need a phone call, okay? But I didn't know they only had 2 people because there was misrepresentation, okay? I didn't realize that their sales team was not trained on selling retail roofs. So I'm sending them all these leads, being like, oh man, even if they answer the phone, this is great. But it wasn't great because they were trained on turning those things into a claim. So it's important that you are very clear and transparent so you can both have a good relationship, both be successful and not want to choke each other out. All right, so alignment over disorder, okay? Again, we talked about internal marketing systems and process. If you don't have enough people to answer a phone, or that doesn't work for you, then you do some where it's form fills, okay, or things like that, or chats. Make sure you have a system in place that works, all right? Lead delivery, do you want it to come to an email? Do you want it to go to text? Does it go to Hatch? What does it go to? Does it go to your CRM? Does it go to Job Nimbus? Make sure you know how that system works. Do you want them all to go to your instant estimate? Well, then you need to send them, whether it's an on-air ad or it's an online one, directly there. Wherever you want them to go, make sure it's matching, all right? And there is no marketing solution that's going to be worth your while if you do not answer those multiple things we talked about. Make sure the relationship, make sure you identify what's important, make sure it supports your internal processes. Whatever's external happening supports internal. All right, assess and utilize every tool, asset, strength, and weakness. Okay, so I know you probably can't see this and you're not sure what this is. This is a guy trying to sell a rug. He's a Marine. And it's on base, and he's using MREs, which are really gross, okay? But we all know, if you're a military family, the size of an MRE. So now we know this is approximately what the size is based on those MREs, okay? So use what you have. You might have things that you don't even realize that are good. You might have weaknesses that you don't realize, okay? I would encourage you to talk, especially number one most important person at your company, and no one talks about this, is your customer service team. The first person that answers the phone, answers the text, answers the email is your most important person. Make sure you identify their strengths, their weaknesses, and uncover any of those and address them and build on them. And then what happens if you trip up? It's going to happen, okay? But all you're going to do is improvise, adapt, and overcome. I know, some of you are chuckling, some of you hate my guts right now, I don't really care. But that's really it, okay? But if you put those systems and processes in place, you know how you're going to resolve issues, you know what you need to do internally, you know how your customer acts externally, okay? You can adapt, you can improvise, okay? You know you have the flexibility. Hey, I'm getting too many leads in, this major storm happened, I need to turn it off. You've built all these things in place, it is much easier to be the guy on the right than the guy on the left. And it looks better too. All right, so again, don't go back in time. All right, you've learned a lot. This is a lot of information. I'd be happy to get a copy of this to anyone who wants it, especially the citations, okay? But it's important. Don't get stuck in a sales tactic, okay? Make sure you're looking at and thinking about what your customer actually looks like, acts like, and wants to experience. And again, you've all graduated, so thank you very much. And today, you are no longer maggots. Happy birthday to anyone. Is anyone here a veteran? Because it is Veterans Day weekend. Thank you, thank you. Is anyone here a Marine? Hey, Semper Fi, Devil Dog. Thank you guys. Have a great day.